Hi, this is Lee from the Bar Exam Toolbox and the Law School Toolbox. Welcome back. 'Tis the season for bar results, and over the last few weeks, many bar takers around the country have been dealing with disappointment, grief, and frustration. We've been talking with many of you, offering thoughts about score reports, next steps, and getting mentally ready to study again. So in today's podcast, we're sharing common questions we receive from bar takers seeking advice about studying again.
One of the questions I think people struggle with is, if I did really well on one section, say the MBE, can I just focus on the writing? What are your thoughts around that?
We do get this question a lot, and the short answer is no. This is never the answer anyone loves to get from us. But I have seen a lot of scores flip-flop all the time. So, you come to me and you said, I knocked the MBE out of the park, but my writing is a problem. And then you come back to me after another administration and the scores are completely opposite. So this rule really does apply even if you did well in the writing portion, but struggled with the MBE. Unfortunately, you do need to prepare for all parts of the exam. I think you can give additional focus to weak areas, and as you allocate your study time, sure, if your MBE scores are thriving, maybe it gets 30% of your time, but you can't assume your results will remain the same just because you got a solid score on one section previously.
I think that's true. Another thing I see people sometimes say, well, I'm looking at the breakdown of my MBE score and I see that I was in the top 75% of applicants on con law, but I was in the bottom 10% on torts. So that tells me I'm good with con law. I can only work on torts. And I mean, when you see multiple score reports from the same person, you often see those scores are kind of random and all over the place. So I don't think, again, that if that is inconsistent with the results you were seeing in your practice, that it's a very good idea to give 0 time to one topic and extra time to another. Again, of course, it's a balance. You want to be looking throughout your preparation at where am I doing well, where am I not doing so well, where might I need some more attention. But just to say, I'm not going to look at this law at all, I don't think most people are going to be able to remember everything they studied 6 months ago. So you definitely need to be refreshing on everything, even if some things are getting more attention.
100%. I also think it's important to keep in mind that this applies to the performance test portion as well. I have seen bar studiers say, well, I did pretty well on those, so I just won't do any more of those. And I think that's kind of a bad idea too.
Yeah.
I think you at least need to keep your skills fresh. So it doesn't mean that you need to be, doing 3 of these a week, but maybe 1 a week.
Yeah.
As you get closer to the exam, and just to keep your skills fresh, do a practice exam where you're used to doing one after the other to remind yourself what it feels like to do that block of them. It's just important to remember that some of this is just doing dress rehearsals for the real exam. You still need to practice even if you know all your lines.
Right. I think that's absolutely right. And I think, to be honest, a lot of this, the first time somebody takes it and doesn't pass, is a little random. Maybe you got one essay that you really didn't do well on and that brought down your writing score. Well, that doesn't tell us that your MBE is consistently going to be higher. It tells us you had one bad essay. So particularly in cases where you don't get much of a breakdown, individually by piece, I don't think it's a great idea to just kind of ditch half the test or, the PT or whatever because you happen to do pretty well on that particular one.
Yeah.
I mean, the PT is a great example because when I took the California bar, one of the PTs was on the topic of my moot court brief. So I was a literal expert on that area of law. I was probably not going to do as well on some other random PT that I'd never seen before. I just got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's part of it. And I also think it's important to keep in mind that when you go back to study again, you're really doing a point collection exercise. It's great to get more points on the essays if that was really your lowest section, but you would also be in a good position to gain more points on the performance test if you did really well on a performance test, or even more points from the multiple choice. You want to kind of, is it raise the water so the boats all go up? What's the saying?
I don't
I mean, though? I don't remember, but you want to basically have everything come up if possible.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
There you go. I knew it was something about boats.
Yeah, you wanna be in that rising tide of, like, "That's great that you did
Yes.
well on the MBE. Let's get it even higher." So if something bad happens
Yes.
somewhere else, you're covered. No, I think like you said, you just gotta collect those points, and I say collect them everywhere.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, give us a like, and leave us a comment. And check back for future updates on preparing for the bar. Thanks for watching.